A very warm welcome to IDFC FIRST Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Ritvika Gupta. Tonight we'll be presenting the top highlights from our Goa Springboard Part 1, a series of conversations that we do across the country to connect with you, the entrepreneur. In the first segment, talking about Goa's immense potential, we have a keynote speech by Chief Guest Mauvin Godinho, Hon'ble Minister for Transport, Panchayati Raj, Industries, Trade and Commerce, Protocol and Hospitality and GST Council member, Government of Goa. In the second segment, we'll have Bhavesh Jatania, Head Startup Banking, IDFC FIRST Bank, giving us an overview of Goa's startup ecosystem, and we'll also be speaking to Manalee V, founder and CEO of Financial Wisdom, as part of our Wealth First segment.
First of all, I'd like to thank you and Times Network and ET Now for giving me this opportunity. At the start itself, I would like to quote Napoleon Hill, "Ability is of little count without opportunity." And I must applaud you, congratulate you all for giving young entrepreneurs this platform in every sense of the word, which will help propel, whether it is unicorn or startups or young entrepreneurs, young minds, propelling themselves to near situations. As we all know, and as much as I love my Goa, I'm sure that everyone in this room loves Goa. It is a piece of paradise here on earth. I always say that we are a God-blessed place. Like I had my colleagues in the GST Council, particularly Kerala, saying, and always boasting about his state, saying that God's own country. I said, okay, I accept God's own country. But Goa is a place where the gods dwell. They live in Goa. All the gods live in Goa. So he had absolutely no argument on that. Why I'm saying this? As we all know, we are not only a place blessed by nature, having such a lovely atmosphere, we are a place blessed by the good nature of our people. Friendly people, always reaching out, and that is what basically makes the difference. And to complement it, they have always been reaching out to people who really need some help. We had a pandemic, as you all know, COVID-19, and people were wondering what next. It attained many new normals. And one new normal, what was achieved that time, I must say, was to the satisfaction of Goa, to actually people coming here to be here during that bad times. They thought, okay, for good times we come here, we enjoy, we have a holiday. But they loved the place so much that they wanted to make it their permanent home. So this is a new thing what happened. And rather, even during the bad times, Goa was the chosen place. Over and above that, as we are talking of tourism, as you all know, we had something called revenge tourism. People did not get to go out for 2 long years. They were confined to their homes, to their small places, can't move out of the house sometimes. And then, finally, when we got the green signal, when people felt they are comfortable enough to move, where did they want to move? So many formalities. If you try to go abroad, people are not sure, because people abroad in other countries were worse off than us. We were much better off. So what better place than the real paradise on earth? People came to Goa by the hordes, and that thing continues even till today. That is our plus point. Having said that, Goa is one place with immense potential in every side. Whether it is tourism-related industry, again it is all industrious work done by different entrepreneurs. Like I am also the Industries Minister. I always say one thing. When I have gone to the various chambers in the country inviting eco-friendly industry, because we also want to protect our environment, what have I been saying? Yes, you can do business anywhere in the world, and you can really make money. There are various facilities being offered. Other states offer you even free land, everything literally for free. But where is the place? Ultimately, end of the day, end of the week, end of the month, you want to relax, you want to have a cool mind, you can do only business with pleasure in a place like Goa. Come here, do business, do it with pleasure. And that was, I think, the tagline what really sold out. And we had people making a beeline here. Like my friend Carlos, he has this resort here. There are many others like him in Goa. They have built up literally his father, I remember from scratch, putting their fingers in the pie of tourism. And how much have they grown? They have made grow along with them. People have come here by the hordes. And today, rightly so, you all have chosen that theme. From a tourist paradise to the tourism hotspot to real estate, a gem. Yes, today, who does not want to have a second home in Goa? I don't think the answer will be no from anybody. Some will be only aspiring, some will actually acquire a piece of this paradise, whether it is building a bungalow, whether it is acquiring a flat, whether it is getting a small piece of land, and why not? We want to keep in tune with what is best in the world. If you look at our infrastructure today in Goa, it has improved tremendously. It is improving even more. That is what we want to do. We have grown from strength to strength. And I am sure Bhavesh will know that his bank itself will tell him that how many proposals come, how many people want to do business in Goa. Other banks also would be saying the same thing. But I think there is, as a banker, I want to tell you another thing. Like, there would be a situation where you all tell, and it is a normal situation, you tell people, put your margin money, and rest of the money we will give. This is a normal norm. With the many new normals coming in, I will give one simple example of what I have been able to do. Taxi is the biggest problem in Goa. In spite of that, on a digital platform through Goa Miles, I introduced one new thing. I said, why should a poor man who wants to do business, everybody aspires to earn some money out of the tourism pie. Why not get another financer or you yourself? I asked the entrepreneur who runs Goa Mile, you put the margin money. On the one side, you will get your installments to pay back the loan. On the other side, the margin money, little that it is 25% or 1/4 or 1/5 of what it is, let that also be paid slowly. And young people who were not aspiring or who did not even have a cycle in front of his house, who was not aspiring to own a motorcycle, a poor man today is having a taxi in front of his house. Believe me, they have not only been paying the installments, they have been paying the margin money. Some of them are earning more than 80,000 a month on a small WagonR. So this is the new normal which can be done. The banks also should think about this. The financiers should think about it. With zero money, make an endeavor to build new entrepreneurs. And especially tourism is one thing where sky is the limit. When beauty is there in Goa, in the place itself, when you get attracted. And I want to say one thing, by attraction, it's not merely the place. When you come with such a, I should say, atmosphere which beckons you to get the best out of your brain, the atmosphere is so infectious that the brain starts working even faster in a very pleasurable manner. And that's how I have seen for myself, even at various conferences, at various conventions, new ideas developed through this atmosphere which Goa is able to recreate. And this is what I am sure something like that will happen here. I am looking forward to that. I believe that even though we are the most preferred destination, we need to do much more. In terms of infrastructure, in terms of the wow factor, in terms of wowing people, sky is the limit, as I said earlier. We need, and you all need, and all of us need to do even much more. Because Goa is the jewel in the crown called India. We as a country are marching forward. In every sense of the word, today we are the 5th largest economy. I need not say more about that. Chandrayaan 3, on 23rd, it will be landing on the southernmost part of the moon. What does it signify? Our real takeoff in our quest to become a real superpower, whether it is in terms of science and technology, whether it's application in things like farming, whether application and usage as far as the common man is concerned. So many people coming above the poverty line, so many people coming into the next, on the next step. Is it not progress? But we have got much more potential. And it is that potential what we have to exploit. By tourism, I mean not only our international tourists wanting to come to Goa, not only the charters coming. Sometimes I find that less people from rest of the country are not coming to the extent what we expect. But with the MOPA happening, the new airport, they have joined as many as 23 new destinations. So you have people coming from newer destinations. It is going to happen much more. You have to contribute, because when you have tourists coming, you will have facilities coming. You have more build-up of resorts. You will have more infrastructure being built. You will have more facilities being created. You will have more entertainment hubs. You will have more things connected with entertainment. With these things, I once again congratulate you, wishing you all the best, and I'm sure we'll have times to rejoice. We'll have times to celebrate with much more awesome things happening. Thank you very much indeed.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC FIRST Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. Tonight you're watching the big highlights from our Goa Springboard Part 1. In this segment, we have Bhavesh Jatania, Head Startup Banking, IDFC FIRST Bank, talking to us all about Goa's startup industry and IDFC FIRST Bank's offerings. Listen in.
I'll start off my presentation with a small story. We were recently in Udaipur. And Udaipur is one destination which is, again, very famous for travel and tourism, right? And we were having discussion with the panels there in terms of the issues with Udaipur's travel and tourism, hotel industry, and large part of these guys came back and said, no, these problems and that problems, and said, why can't we also become like Goa, which is a 365-day travel destination now, or tourist destination now, right? And I said, what does it take for you to get there? They came back and said, you know, look at the infrastructure in Goa today, right? Look at the kind of support that travel and tourism has in Goa, right? Apart from being hospitable people, right? So Goa has been a hotshot destination. It's kind of, in a way enhances credibility in that sense. And the credit for that goes to, obviously, government of Goa. So can we have a big round of applause? All right, okay. So what I would do is, as I told you, my presentation is actually in two parts. We'll keep it brief and tight. To begin with, we'll speak a bit about Goa's travel and tourism, and I'll just touch upon it, and then we'll go on and speak about the story of IDFC Bank and how a bank actually powers startups, powers businesses. Bank is about money, right? And every output of a commercial enterprise is money that we're talking about, which is when banks become an integral part of every business, every travel segment, every segment, business segment, so to speak. Okay? All right. So Goa's travel and tourism industry is already big, about 15% of Goa's overall GDP contribution. 15 to 18% of GDP contribution that we're talking about 35% of employment, which is huge by any standards, right? And travel and tourism industry has that impact across, right? It provides employment, higher employment anyway that we have seen, right? Goa travel and tourism industry contributes significantly to India's GDP as well. India's forex earnings in particular, and some numbers we keep getting here and there, ranging from 10% to 14% of export earnings of India, right? Which is huge to my mind, right? But be that as me, some of the numbers people could debate and say, no, is it 10%, is it 5%, is it 7%, right? The influx of tourists that we see is possibly the highest. The third, Goa is one of the, being the state that it is in terms of size, it always punches above its weight. It's amongst the top 3 as we speak in terms of travelers coming to the city, apart after Maharashtra and, if I know, Karnataka for the matter, right? And so huge in terms of travel and tourism industry. But it's not the only thing. Now, Goa is obviously not the same state as we used to know Goa maybe a couple of decades back, mining and fisheries, right? But it's moved on from there. We're talking about travel and tourism, and it's becoming a hotshot real estate destination as well, with various themes emerging now. People who earlier came to Goa as a tourist now want to stay here, right? And that presents an opportunity. It presents an opportunity to businesses, obviously, right? But that also brings with it the concerns that comes in, right? And IDFC Bank is actually a 4-year-old bank in the sense that the merger with IDFC Limit between IDFC Bank and First Capital happened sometimes in 2018 December. So we are in that sense about a 4-year bank. And how has IDFC Bank achieved what it has achieved in last 4 years, right? The whole approach been that of a challenger bank. And let me explain what we mean by challenger bank there. By challenger bank, we mean we look at pretty much like you startups. We look at essentially the problem areas in the businesses and see how we can address some of these problem areas through the solutions that we can provide, right? I'll give you a couple of examples so that you understand this better. And very simple examples of that. Savings account, on savings account, all of us, I'm sure, have savings account with banks, right? But did you guys know that on savings account, you get interest on a quarterly basis and not on a monthly basis? Did you guys know that? Right? We know it because we are an EMI bank. IDFC Bank is an EMI bank which is largely into consumption finance. So 75% of our lending is to people like you, supporting you in achieving your dreams of owning a home, owning a car, or owning consumer durables that you want to own, essentially, right? So we understand that an individual goes through a pain when it has to pay an EMI, right, on a monthly basis. With that, I'll conclude. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. Your time and participation here is much appreciated, right? Over to you, Pooja. Thank you. Thank you again.
It's now time to decode the importance of managing wealth and personal finance in our Wealth First segment. Pooja Jain in conversation with Manalee V, founder and CEO of Financial Wisdom. Listen in.
India has long been described as a nation of savers and not necessarily a nation of investors. First of all, do you subscribe to that sentiment, and do you believe it needs to change?
Coming back to your topic of India, so yes, I do believe that if you look at India, in any common household, you will find a woman saving, So it could be in a form of keeping a small amount of cash, maybe in her extended wallet, or it could be, buying gold, or it could be, starting what she understands. So yes, even that was a major reason when even there was demonetization, India didn't have that impact, because even the, you can say, the poorest home has a lot of gold reserves. So
well, speaking of gold, gold and real estate have often been considered the safe haven, right, for investors, the assets via which you cannot go wrong, all right? Has that sort of perception hurt us in that we're not as investment savvy as we perhaps could be because we're relying on the default?
So if you consider gold as an investment, okay, so generally when we invest, it could be in real estate, or it could be in stocks or securities or mutual fund, there is a sort of appreciation which has been, a client is generally expecting an appreciation in kind of capital appreciation, interest or dividends, But when it comes to gold, gold as a commodity is an instrument which is not, it is majorly driven with a demand and supply chain, So recently when we've seen when there was a war of Ukraine, that was a time when the demand of gold had really gone up and that suited the price. But in terms of financial planning or in terms of personal finance, we suggest our clients to have gold as a commodity just to hedge their portfolio. Maximum could be 10 to 15% of their overall cash flow.
So if we look at India's financial inclusion story, right? While we've made tremendous headway as a nation, I believe there's still somewhat of a subconscious cultural hesitation when it comes to discussing finances, even if you're in the comfort of your immediate friends and family, right? So what's the solution there? Because that clearly is an impediment in the path to progress.
So I believe that there has to be financial literacy, okay, which is to be started from home. So you as parents, or if you have young kids, you should start teaching the kids about how to manage their money. It could be as small as managing their pocket money, giving them some lessons about personal finance, how they can save. So if they have some savings into piggy banks, how they can really, as they grow, how they can move that into their bank accounts. Teach them about smaller savings in terms of mutual funds or something. And this literacy has to start from home. Once that culture is developed in the family, the child can take it forward a very, very in a long duration.
Well, absolutely. And speaking of which, there are also a lot of misconceptions around credit cards. In that, when one opts for their first credit card, they're just not given or equipped with the right financial knowledge to manage it well, right? So what do you suggest is essentially the path to making that a positive experience?
I believe the credit card has become an easiest way for an human to, buy, majorly to do an impulse buying. Because with regards to credit card, it's very easy for you to swipe it and buy maybe an iPhone or a latest gadget which is available in the market. But I believe there is no free lunch, right? So every credit card comes with certain clauses wherein you try and fall into a credit trap, and that leads to a lot of financial destruction if it is not taken in positively.
But on the flip side, it can also be an incredibly powerful tool with respect to building your credit history, if you're equipped with the right knowledge. So building on that, for many entrepreneurs, perhaps entrepreneurs in our room, that find themselves struggling with kind of not blending corporate cash flow with personal cash flow, right? To sort of keep those two streams separate. What words of advice might you have?
So I believe that whenever we discuss personal finance with entrepreneurs, the best, most of the common answer that I get from them is they can really double and triple their income investing into their own business, So first thing that needs to be clarified is you need to separate your personal finance and your professional finance, because it is always good to create a second source of income and not to be truly relied with your business to grow. That is when you can achieve financial freedom.
Huge round of applause for Manalee, please. Manalee, thank you so much for taking our queries.
Thank you so much.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC FIRST Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.